Welcome, fellow citizens of YouTube. I am Based, and today we're gonna talk about the Forgotten Front. The front in the shadow of Bakhmut. Of course, I'm talking about the Liman-Kreminna axis, right here. This front has been pretty much just as active as Bakhmut, or nearly as active as Bakhmut, but hasn't gotten nearly as much attention as Bakhmut. For good reasons. Bakhmut is a little bit more important, but this front is also very important, and I'm gonna tell you why. So, what's going on here? The Ukrainians have many troops in this area. The Ukrainians have conducted an offensive in September, where they pushed all this way towards Liman, and managed to capture Liman until the start of October, and managed to hold it until now. Then the Ukrainians tried to push on to Kreminna. Failed, and now the Russians are counterattacking with huge forces. You can see which forces do we have in this area. Airborne divisions, airborne assault regiments, many of them. The Bar Squad, relevant troops, relevant offensive troops. And you actually get many videos from this area, especially from this wooded area with, for example, BMPs shooting into the woods, trying to kill Ukrainians. This front has been rather stationary for the last few weeks, but they're still fighting. As you can see, the Russians are slowly pushing towards Zarizhne and trying to capture those forests. And Liman is important because from Liman you can first of all shell Slavyansk from this side, and being able to shell a city from several sides is actually very useful because artillery doesn't come out from the sky like in video games. Artillery goes in an angle, and if you want to, for example, hit the side of a building standing here from this side, then you obviously can't shoot from this side because you won't hit the side of the building that you need to hit. So that's a small detail that's a little bit important about Liman. The second thing is, from this side, if you cross the river, you have another way to approach Slavyansk. You already approach Slavyansk from this side, but then you can also approach Slavyansk from this side. And if you capture this, all of this, the Russians very likely want to push up to this river, the Oskil River. It's a pretty big river. It's an amazing defensive position. It's actually also amazing that the Russians lost this defensive position against the Ukrainians so quickly. And if the Russians manage to capture this side of the river and put up defensive positions here, they can use more defensive conscripted troops and not too many of them here, and transport those offensive airborne troopers to the real fronts here, trying to capture Slavyansk, Kramatorsk and Kostiantynivka. Also, if the Russians manage to get over this river, they can go to Izium, and from Izium they could theoretically, I don't think they're going to do it, but they could theoretically encircle it with Izium and Pokrovsk. They're also kind of going towards Pokrovsk right now. So then they could just go around this, but I don't think they will. But if they capture Izium, they can push up from this side, from Dolena, and also attack Slavyansk from this side. And then they've got Slavyansk from this side, and from this side, and then the capture of Slavyansk is just a matter of time. And then the capture of Kramatorsk is just a matter of time. And Kramatorsk really is the key here. Kramatorsk is very difficult to capture. Liman is also a very important position to capture Seversk. As I've explained many times in my videos, the Russians will not attack Seversk head on. I've already predicted that in, I think, July. Because it's actually very stupid to attack Seversk head on, because all you need to do to capture Seversk is capture Liman, cut them off, by capturing Liman, you cut them off from this side, while you are also pushing up to Slavyansk after you capture Bakhmut. And then, you know, you capture this side is under your control, and this side is under your control, so no supplies anymore for Seversk, and then you get Seversk for free. So, Liman is super important to do exactly this maneuver. So, this is the front in the shadow of Bakhmut, my little girl Kreminna.